Good day to Professor Satrio Adi. Today we'll be introducing on how we install Hadoop MultiNode on Linux using VirtualBox. So for the introduction, we can see that Hadoop has recently become popular due to its ability to perform distributed computing on standard computing resources. So we will show you step-by-step installation of Hadoop that we did on three Ubuntu instances running on a VirtualBox. The Ubuntu instances are divided into three, which are one master node and also two slave nodes. So the objective of this task is to install and configure a multi-node Hadoop cluster using VirtualBox to simulate distributed data processing across multiple virtual machines. So for the tools and requirements, the operating system, as we know, is a Ubuntu Linux, while the virtualization tool is a VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox. And for the Hadoop version, we're using 2.9.0, whereas the JDK, we're using Java version of OpenJDK 8, and the hardware specifications, we're using an Intel i5 laptop with 16 GB RAM. And the nodes and the slave has an IP address where the master node ends with 101, slave node ends with 102, and the slave 2 ends with 103.
Hello everyone. Now let's move on to the next slide, which is keyless SSH. So we start this operation by using the SSH keygen T RSA P command. So basically this command is about to execute on the master node to generate as RSA public private key pair. Let's move on to the next command, which is SSH copy ID and so on. So basically this command is to copy the public key from the master to the slave one. So we move into the next command, which is ssh/1 slave one. Basically this okay, now after done the slave one, copy the keygen of for the slave one, we move on to the next slave, which is slave two, and we use the same command, which is copy ID and so on, to copy the keygen and paste it on the slave one. And after we copy, we have to use the same command, which is ssh as slave 2 to check whether correctly copy or not. And then after that, we exit the slave 2, and that's it.
So now we are going to check the JPS, the Java Virtual Machine process status. So we start with typing the HDFS name node format. Okay, and then you can see it will show the secondary name node and the name node running along with the JPS process itself. Okay, so for the next one, yeah, you can see the secondary name nodes and the name nodes. All right, so for the next, we are going to start the yarn. So after we start the yarn, okay, it shows several critical Hadoop processes running. Okay, the first one would be the resource manager, and then we have the resource resource manager, node manager, name node. Yeah,
Okay, this part is similar to the previous one, which we will reuse the same command. Okay, at first we format first. Okay, click yes, and then we start dfs.sh, and you can see it's starting name node. Okay, and then we check JPS. Okay, it's running. Then we start yarn.sh, starting, wait for it, and then we run JPS again to make sure that it's running. Okay, now we open our browser and then go to this link, which is http master 8088 slash cluster slash node. Here we can see that there is only master running. Then we go to our slave 1. Then we run the resource start.yarn.sh. Start the resource manager. Okay, wait. And then we run JPS. Okay, do similar for the slave 2 start yarn sh. Okay, then JPS check name node. Okay, then we refresh the browser. Now we can see slave 2 master and slave 1 is running. Thank you.